So here's my friend Shia LaBeouf. What is up, people? So today's going to be totally different than like the normal drum lesson thing or transcription thing or whatever. So later on, you're going to see a video of a snippet of an interview I did for a podcast recently by my friend Andrew Galucky. The name of the podcast is The Middle Class Musician.
Oh, well,
you might, but
I knew that a time would come where people would talk like that, but it had never like happened to me in my face, and then it did, and I was like, oh, okay, now I'm here.
It's just a conversation kind of about like what my professional music career has been for the last 2 years, because as some of you know, it totally changed. It's really a conversation about, you know, the ins and outs of that. And a lot of you guys ask me, like a lot of you want to be professionals or are, and you're looking to kind of like diversify and stuff. So the whole conversation, you should definitely check it out. The link is in the description for that whole podcast interview. It's like an hour and a half long, and we really get into kind of the like good, the bad, the ugly about making a business that isn't just based on the network of physical people in your area, but about the internet and how to use the internet to help your business. I made a commitment about a year ago, and I said, okay, for a year, I'm gonna post once a week on YouTube. I don't care how many views I get, I don't care how many subscribers I have, I'm just gonna try and post once a day on YouTube and see what happens. Because I had always heard that YouTube was amazing, but I was always afraid, oh, like it's oversaturated, people won't like my content as much as other people, whatever. So I was just kind of over, like, you know, being scared of the prospect of posting on YouTube, because I really wanted to see, does YouTube work? Is YouTube cool? Is it beneficial for my business? What's the deal? So I just made a promise to post every day, and a year later I can say that like my whole life is changed, and that sounds really dramatic, and it probably is a slight overstatement. But YouTube has been so amazing for me. Content creation is really, really hard. Posting once a week or every day on Instagram, or, you know, writing a blog post every month or whatever, it doesn't sound like that big a deal, but it is. It takes a lot of effort. These videos that you're watching, if you're watching someone post a video every week, you can imagine that minimum they're spending 2 hours of their week posting that video, editing, like filming it, all of that stuff. But like sometimes it takes like 6 hours to film and edit a lesson and write the sheet music out. And part of this experiment this year was like, is it worth it? Is like all that time putting a free video out on the internet worth it for my business? And it was. I've gotten way more emails from you all. Like the engagement is so high on YouTube, and it's been so cool for me to connect with all of you. So that's really the first like benefit of YouTube is, and not just YouTube, every social media platform, but for me, I this year was a huge focus on YouTube, and it was totally worth it because I met so many of you, both like emails and Skype and all of that stuff, but also a lot of you came through Nashville and I actually saw you. We would get coffee and all of that stuff, and you'd come to my shows, and like it's been amazing. I've connected with way more people this year than ever before because of YouTube. So the first benefit really is like, it's been huge to like drive traffic to my website and stuff. Like I've just met and had so many more opportunities because I'm starting to have a little more presence on YouTube. So it's been worth it in that regard. The second thing is it's made me way better at a bunch of things that I wouldn't probably be as good at if I hadn't needed to post to YouTube. And some of those things that jump to mind immediately are video editing and recording. So, and I don't mean like recording like playing drums better for an album or whatever, but I mean getting better sounds and learning how to mix. As a studio player, I don't typically mix my own drums. I track them here at someone else's studio, and then someone else mixes them, because that's how records get made. But it's been really worthwhile. You know, if I'm going to post something on YouTube, I don't want it to sound terrible. So I was always trying to, when I post something to YouTube, make it sound as good as I could. Now, I knew it wasn't going to be the best mix in the world. I knew I wasn't going to get a Grammy. I knew that, you know, but I wanted it to sound better than, whatever, you know? So that started this huge learning process of, it was really hard at first. I didn't have as many mics. I didn't know as much about preamps and plugins and EQs and all that stuff. And over a year, like I'll insert a clip right now that it was me from a year ago. And you can hear it. You can hear that the room said, like, you can hear a lot of room sound. It sounds like okay, but it sounds like the drums are pretty far away. Part of that is the room wasn't totally treated yet. Part of it was like I just didn't know what I was doing mixing and stuff. And so that was like a year ago. And I'll post a clip now kind of from the same angle. And I think you'll be able to hear the difference in what my drums used to sound like and what they sound like now. It's a big difference. That's something that if I weren't posting to YouTube all the time, I don't know if I would have spent as much time like really getting into mixing and stuff. Video editing and audio mixing were something that hugely got way better over the course of a year because of YouTube. And then the third part is I've kind of discovered a lot more about myself, which sounds really weird and like overstated or whatever. Not overstated, but like it sounds like too much of a like universal truth or whatever, but making content every week, I've discovered like these are the kind of people that like my teaching methods. I always explain stuff like this because this is, you know, like I've just discovered so much about myself, how I teach, how I interact with people. Because of the lessons I make, I now know like what my interests are, what I gravitate toward, and I know a lot more about you. You all have watched certain videos way more than others, and it's gotten me to know the people that whoever follows me, and I'm so thankful for all like 2,000 something that have subscribed. Like, I'm so thankful for that because it means that I'm helping at least some of you. And like 2,000 people is a lot of people. It's not 2 million, which some people have on YouTube, but to me, 2,000 is huge. I've played shows for 2,000 people in theaters, and it's like it's the best feeling ever when a theater is packed with 2,000 people. That's like that's like the best show ever. And the fact that 2,000 of you want to subscribe to my YouTube channel to hear me talk to a camera is like totally amazing to me. So I'm super thankful for that. And YouTube's just been really good to discover about myself, discover like it's helped my business, it's helped my skills of video editing, audio, all of that stuff, and it's just let me know more about myself and about like you, the people that drum and want to know things and look to YouTube to learn those things. I've just learned so much over this last year. YouTube has been hugely beneficial. Before I get to this interview, and again, you should check out the full podcast interview because I think you'll learn a lot, not just about business, but the music business and how it's cool, how it's bad, and then just like more about kind of the beauty of the internet and how vast it is and how much it can help you, no matter you're, you know, whether you're trying to start a business or just like meet more people or learn stuff or whatever. Like, listen to the full interview. I think that you'll really get something out of it. But before I do, I just want to encourage you, if you're thinking about starting a YouTube channel or something and you haven't yet, or you know, you want to start an Instagram or you have a podcast idea or whatever, like don't wait. Don't be scared about like doing it because you're not sure if it's going to be good or if it's going to be worse than this person's or no one's going to watch it or like whatever. Like, I made the promise to myself that after a year, if no one was watching my videos still and it hadn't grown at all and I hadn't seen any benefit from it, I'd just stop doing it. So if you've been waiting a long time to start something, whether it's like a YouTube channel or a podcast or quit your job and do your dream job or whatever you're waiting on, be encouraged. Like, I have a friend here that he's got some words for you to get you pumped up to go do your thing on the internet or in business or with your friend. Like, whatever you're waiting to do, I think that this message should get across to you, you know, kind of like how I'm feeling about it. So, here's my friend Shia LaBeouf.
Some people dream of success while you're gonna wake up and work hard at it. Nothing is impossible. Do it!
So I hope that you feel totally amped up by hearing from Shia LaBeouf. But seriously, I'm about to roll the interview, but if you're feeling discouraged or whatever, I felt plenty discouraged this year by a lot of things, but pursuing something that you are kind of afraid to do but think will be beneficial, if you go into it knowing that it's going to be a long haul and there are going to be challenges, but you press through that stuff, I think that you'll see that, until you take that risk, there's no way to know if it's going to work out. And even if it doesn't work out, you'll still gain skills that you didn't have before. Even if you fail, you will still gain a lot of knowledge, a lot of wisdom, and learn about yourself, which you can carry to the next thing. So, this is, I guess, just to encourage you to, if you have a dream, if you have something you want to do, go and do it. Stop waiting, because it's never going to get better with waiting. Just go and do it, and then take it day by day, and don't try and do it all at once. It's not going to happen at once. I used to have, all my videos used to get like 50 views, and now they get like 500 views. And it took a whole year to make that change happen, but it was a whole year, which is a long time, but also a really short time. So, I don't know where to end this, but I'm going to roll the podcast now. If you like what you hear, go check out the full thing. Link is in the description. Hit subscribe. Turn that notification bell on if you are into this kind of stuff. Like, I know this was a different thing. It wasn't a drum lesson and like weird inspirational motivational thing, but yeah, I really believe in this stuff. So if you have any questions or anything, you can also email me. You can go to my website to do that. That is also in the description. So yeah, subscribe, hit the notification bell, put in the comments, like, let's talk in the comments about, whatever this sparked in your brain about whatever I am talking about, or maybe something totally different. And yeah, here's the interview that I did with Andrew for The Middle Class Musician. I hope you enjoy it, and again, the full thing down in the description, and I'll see you in the next one.
That was my thing, though, with Instagram. I had one, and I would always post pictures and say, "This is stupid. Like, I'm not a good picture take. I look great in every picture,
obviously,
but I'm not good at taking pictures. Right? That's not my thing. Like, I have no visual aesthetic, like, radar.
Yeah.
And some people do. Some people will take. I can see the same exact sunset and take a picture and be like, "Oh, it looks terrible," and then someone else standing next to me can take like the most beautiful. But when I found out that it was a place you could put videos, back in the day, 15-second videos.
Yeah.
And I was like,
that, just no videos.
And before that, no videos. And they used to have to be square videos.
Everything was square.
Good old days, man. Yeah. That kind of changed the game for me, because I was like, whoa, okay. People like drum videos.
Right.
At that time, my thinking on YouTube was, it's oversaturated. I don't have enough video gear, blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to do YouTube. That's not my thing.
Yeah.
It's too much. But Instagram, I don't know. Throw it up here. It goes, and then it kind of took off.
As we said, you're a drummer, professional musician, and a professional educator.
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
A professional? Yeah, I guess so.
Sure.
Well, does an educator has to be professional?
I mean, by what we just said, you don't. You could never have played a live show, and you can educate on it. You're not a good educator, but you are.
Yeah.
Technically,
Okay, yeah,
I mean,
sure,
I guess.
Sure.
I don't know. Someone else can figure that out. But as you do that, we've talked about before how people can be weird. And I've talked about this with other people who have done music full time and been on the road and done the road thing and realize like they want to make more money than they can make on the road, or they want better job security. And so they pick up things that are not so much side hustles in the way of like driving Lyft, but like whether they learn to like code or they do stuff like that. And the people I've talked to are like somewhat hesitant to tell the world that, because people have like a stigma against people who are not just making money in music.
Right.
And I think it's probably the same way from what we've talked about with people who are drum educators or educators in general and are doing that on top of being a professional drummer as well. Are we both burping? Was that you?
Wow,
or was
that
me?
was like my throat just like made a weird noise, man.
Beer comes like right back up in weird noises. Sometimes I've had that when I try to like drink and play a show at the same time, and it ends up being just holding back burps the whole time.
I find that like anytime, like if I'm recording a YouTube video or something, when I hit record, I'll get like
It all comes up.
I'll have to like burp and stuff, which I don't like. I'm not like a person that burps a lot in life, but
Right.
it's like a very weird, like psychological
Maybe
thing,
we
I
burp
think.
more than we know. We just don't really care.
Oh.
Think about it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Finish your point. Finish your point before this just totally derailed.
Yeah. What was I saying? Something along the lines of, basically, I'm just putting that to you. Do you feel like there's a weird reaction to the fact that you have diversified your income streams by adding education and by leveraging social media to your platform?
Oh, that's a great question. That's actually something I'm still like working through, because I think enough people now know that I'm doing more than. So we kind of like just jumped into it. I have been a professional musician for, I don't know. I mean, like high school.
Yeah, right.
You know, but I went to college for music, and then I graduated, and I toured for several years full time, 200 dates, like gone all the time.
Yeah.
With major label artists, and then like artists that you've never heard of, and then probably bands that are somewhere in between.
Mm-hmm.
Bunch of different situations. And for me, I just got to a point where I was playing a lot of music, but I was, you know, when I was on the bus or I was at home not playing shows or whatever, I'd be sitting transcribing crazy drum solo, like listening to drum solos and writing out what they're playing and doing all this stuff that was really nerdy and was fulfilling like the drummer in me. And a lot of these gigs I was playing, the people were cool, the shows were cool, all of that stuff, but it was just like, well, it's pop country or whatever, which there's nothing wrong with that. But for me, I was like, I like drum solos. I like all this other stuff. That's not being used.
Yeah.
So
right.
what's, coupled with, man, I just got kind of like burnt out being gone all the time. My wife is in grad school right now, so she's home like one day a week, essentially. She's home like Wednesday night. She works full time and then goes to grad school. So like right now, if I were on the road, we would literally never see each other.
Yeah.
Because she would be gone all week and I'd be gone all weekend. So it was just, for me, at this time in my life, it was like, okay, touring is cool. I've done it. I know what it's about to an extent. What else is there?
Yeah.
And for me, that turned into Instagram, Skype lessons, but then that quickly transitioned into doing more things like ebooks and courses and stuff like that. And there definitely is a stigma to it. I've ran into a couple of people that, have said things like, oh man, I almost recommended you for a gig, but I hear you work from home now.
Name names.
Okay.
Call
what if I
them
did?
out.
What if I did? I just dropped. No, and to me, that's not incorrect.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, that's not a wrong thing to think. Like, I do.
You just don't think that people are actually thinking that way.
Oh,
Well, you might, but
I knew that a time would come where people would talk like that, but it had never like happened to me in my face, and then it did, and I was like, oh, okay, now I'm here.